Hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. And I'm excited. Y'all know I get excited on Mondays and Saturdays because I just love to talk to people and have those conversations and hopefully encourage somebody else along the way. And so, Jakina, how are you today? Can you hear me?
I am doing good. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Well, I'm excited, but before we
Can
jump
you
into
hear
your
me?
interview, I'm gonna I know we've been going back and forth like, yeah, but before we jump into your interview, I definitely want to remind everybody there is a fall festival going on this Saturday, October 22nd, and it is the location is 938 Central Drive Northwest, Concord, North Carolina. And you may remember LaWanda. She was with us, I think, a couple Saturdays ago. And of the group United, her foundation is United. And so they're hosting a fall festival. You know, we talked about all the fun games for the kids, tug of war, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be fun. Make sure you reach out to her. I don't have a website, but I'll post it in the description of the video. But Lawanda K on Facebook, her organization is United, and so, and then we know also this weekend, the historic Hoskins Community Parade. It's the inaugural parade. Is taking place also in Charlotte. So you guys know there's always some amazing things going on. They just hosted the Black Family Reunion Charlotte. I I've been seeing videos. It was a hot event. There's so many things going on. They told Brandon to rest up because planning for next year starts Monday. So hopefully he took a nap this weekend. So Jakina, welcome to Making Connections. How are you, my friend?
Thank you. I am doing well. I just had to rest my body after this Colorado retreat, but
Yeah,
I am doing a lot better.
good.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. It looks like you were having so much fun.
I did. It was a retreat that I definitely needed. I finally when you don't fit in somewhere and you finally find your tribe and the people you fit in with. It was such an amazing opportunity. I met some amazing, strong-willed, flat and fabulous sisters, and I participated in a couple documentaries and photo shoots, and it was just an amazing opportunity.
Oh, okay. It like I said, the pictures I've seen looks like the especially the event where you had to be quiet, but everybody was dancing or something
That
like
was
that.
the silent disco, and it was so
Oh,
fun
okay.
because when we got the itinerary, we got our cabin mates, so that way we can make a connection and everything. And when we're looking at the itinerary, everybody's looking like silent disco, like, how is this going to work?
How did that
And
work?
so we're thinking like, oh, we got to have our own headphones or whatever. And we get there, and they're like, hey, go get some headphones, and you can turn it to blue, green, or red. And when I say we had an amazing time listening to music, and you'll see everybody walking around just going like this with different color headphones on because everybody's listening to different songs. But then when you find somebody that's listening to the same song, and then
Right.
you're going like this together. So I said, my next event, I am definitely going to have that. So
Yeah.
when the next event comes for the book release, you're going to have to come so we can do the silent disco.
Yes, I am down for that. I love that. That was so cool. I was like, that is so neat, and everybody was just really into it. So
Right.
I thought it was so cool, and I I'm excited about your book release because that's actually where we first met when we did the
Yes.
anthology with Jamie. She wouldn't let
Exactly.
me fall, and so that's been a minute ago.
Oh wow. And I'm thinking about it because yeah, that's been what, maybe 10 years ago now?
It could
Almost
have been very
8
close
years.
to probably at least 8 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while. Oh wow.
So it's time for a reunion for sure.
It is. It definitely is. And I'm excited about this book project and documentary. And, this journey has just been, one emotional roller coaster after another, uphill and downhills and turns and twists and curves and everything. So I'm just excited to finally see it come full where, everyone can just share this journey with me and the positive, the highs of it. So
Right. So since we're on that project, let's go ahead and, talk about that. What how many people are in the anthology? When do you expect it to release?
So it's called the Seeing the Beauty Beyond the Scars. And I wanted to give a point of view from all aspects. People always look at, oh, just the cancer survivor, the person diagnosed. But our organization, we've always been about the entire survivor and butterfly families. So um, I believe that, and I'm truly, truly stuck on this phrase that I've been given, this mountain to show others that it can be climbed. Every aspect of my life, I believe, was meant for a purpose. So I've been a caregiver. My mom was diagnosed when I was young. Yeah, I've been, a daughter of a butterfly. My father that raised me, he died of lung cancer, and now, unfortunately, I'm a survivor. So I wanted this project to reflect the entire family. So
Hmm.
I have a few caregivers, a few daughters of butterflies, a few survivors that have written on their journey. The youngest person in this project is 20. No, I'm sorry, no. The person in this project is 17.
Oh wow.
And she's doing a co-write with her mom on losing their dad of cancer.
Hmm.
And then we have the next youngest person. She's doing a tribute to her mother, who she lost to cancer. And actually, she's like a daughter to me. My baby boy and her met at a cancer survivor camp called Camp Kesem. And it was right before her mother passed.
Oh,
And they just connected like brother and sister big time. And all these years later, we still are in contact. Actually, she texted me at 2 o'clock this morning. But I again, this project is called Seeing the Beauty Beyond the Scars. We do some inspiration. We do a note to self. Everybody that knows me knows, in my transparent moments, I always end with a note to self.
mm,
So I feel that anybody that picks up this project, picks up this book, will see or be able to identify with one of the writers, if not more than one. And of course, God is the head of my life, and I truly believe that I would not be here without Him. So we do have some scriptures in there for those that are newly diagnosed or not diagnosed and not sure what the terms are. We do have a little bit of the definitions as well. So, and some surprises that's going to be in the book. But I really believe that this is going to be a great project. The release date is set for January 7th in Virginia Beach. And I am super excited because I have some surprises and people coming. I met this wonderful young woman that lives in New York. She was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 11.
wow.
um and she's only 20. Don't quote me, but she's in her 20s. So
Hmm.
she's a young woman, beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful voice. So she is going to come and bless us. We also have a couple um surprises, Grammy and nominated singer that's going to come and bless us as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be a wonderful event celebration. And I'm excited. We were putting together a documentary. We've been working on that for a while. Hopefully that was set to be released in September 2023. um, we have a few people that are part of the documentary that actually are no longer with us, but I felt that it was necessary for their children to be able to have a legacy. to see their mom's words, to see their father's words, to hear their father's words and to see them.
Right.
Sometimes our children just go through so much when we're sick.
Hmm.
Again, I've walked in that shoes with my dealing with my mom, my grandmother, other family members. Um, but sometimes our children just need some type of comfort. And I believe that we're going to do right by with this project. I believe we're going to do right by all of those that are now our butterflies.
And you are so right. It's we talk about all the time, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's cancer or other diagnoses. It affects the entire family. And sometimes, we've had guests on the show who their families couldn't take it, like say a significant other. They just couldn't take it. And you expect that person to be your rock. And
Right.
so we always talk about we got to give grace for the journey for everybody because it's
Right.
a first for everybody. So is there a right or wrong? We don't really say that, but everybody has to take the journey how they can. It's
Well,
painful.
one thing that I say a lot is, with this journey, it's hard for me as a survivor. It's hard for my children. I watch them every day. They are my, caregivers, my sole caregivers. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. When I found out I had cancer, I did have a spouse. And, again, like you said, some people it's just very hard for them to take. And I don't feel that they're a bad person just because they can't take it. Sometimes their actions may seem harsh, but we don't know where everybody is in their own journey, in their own lives, in their own walk. And sometimes people have to take a step back and do what's best for them. Is it a lonely road for me? Absolutely. I actually went through a period of depression where it was just like, I think love has left me. That ship has sailed for me. Maybe I'll never find love. Maybe I'll never find anyone that's going to love me unconditionally with all of these scars. I've had 43 surgeries.
Wow.
I've been hospitalized numerous times. It seems like every 6 to 8 weeks I was in the hospital from 2016 to 2021. This is probably the longest that I haven't been in a hospital in a while. And that's been, I had my last surgery in January, actually 3 procedures in 18 days.
Wow.
So, I, and then on the other side of it is, fear creeps in. PTSD. People don't realize that they think, oh, just people that, um, or, veterans, when they think about PTSD, first thing that comes to mind are veterans.
Right.
But you also have to remember the people that are diagnosed with chronic illnesses. Every time we go to the doctors, we have knots in our stomach because we don't know what they're going to say again, what they're going to diagnose, what's going to come up. We're afraid. Every time we have to go get a mammogram or go get an MRI or go get, ultrasound, any of that, our stomach is in knots. Go give blood. Stomach is in knots. I
Right.
actually have a port in, and I don't know if you can see, but I still have a port in because my veins, were bad in the beginning and very tiny. But when you're in the hospital so much and you need IV medication, your veins are blowing.
Mhm.
I've had fluid buildup, cysts build up, all of that, 3 IVs in at a time. So, the whole PTSD is real. It's traumatizing. I go in there and, have all these machines hooked up and everything. So now I've become a little claustrophobic because it's like, when you have nothing but you're sitting or laying in a bed with all these machines in this, tiny, room with these 4 walls, not knowing if you're going to make it, not gasping for air, trying to breathe, wondering, am I going to pull through this surgery, or Are they going to amputate my leg? Or, all of this goes through your mind. So, the mental health, um, for those with chronic illness is a big thing. And so that's one thing that, I've been advocating for as well. With Black and brown people, that stigma of not wanting to get any type of psychological help. Um, but I am a true believer that, you know, if you need help, you need to get help. I'm a true believer, if something doesn't feel right or seem right, then you go get it checked, whether that's your body or your mind. So,
Right. You're speaking my language because we just had that conversation on the show. Even with spirituality, I tell people you can have Jesus and a therapist. Come on,
yep,
you can have Jesus and a coach.
yep,
We go to a doctor for when we don't feel well and with our if we have a headache.
right.
But and when you're talking to coaches and therapists and things, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means you're having a hard time at this moment processing all that you're going through, and you just need some help putting things in order, or dealing with the emotions behind it, because again, it could be your first round at something like this. Having a family member, you know taking their, seeing them go through their last days, and it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
listen, it's okay to talk about this. Find a group, an organization where they have support groups, something, because it's a lot.
It is. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to process on a daily basis. Some days I close my door and, I just cry and talk to God. On my worst days, I've been known to, cry out and ask God why. Like, I don't understand why you keep sparing my life to allow me to experience so much hardships. I've now, with my change, when you change your mind, my therapist said, you change your mind, you change your body. You change your body, you change your mind. It's a cycle.
Hmm.
um and when it's your speech, you have to learn how to speak different. Even though, yes, my body is in pain from head to toe every single day. Yes, I have tons of machines, all around my room. Breathing machine, sleep apnea machine, another breathing machine, a chest machine that actually, when I take my breathing treatments, I actually hook this vest on, and it shakes the waves, shakes the mucus that's built up in my lungs, that helps me breathe a little bit better.
Right.
So, you look at all these different things, and it's like, you have to. My son told me, actually, we were having a conversation, and my oldest son said something that right before the Colorado trip that stuck with me, and it made me embrace new beginnings. Meaning, he says, I just want you to stop living in fear. I'm
Hmm.
not used to this, mom. I'm used to my mom being the strongest person that I know.
Hmm.
So I can't take when you go into the hospital. I can't take that. My youngest son said, you know, people look at just the survivor in there, but when you go into that hospital, we hurt and we suffer too. We
Right.
don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I'm both of my children's only parent. So, if the one said, if I lose you, then what would I have? I
Right.
understand that because that's how I felt when my mom was diagnosed. That's how I felt when my dad was diagnosed. My biological father also has lung cancer. Cancer has been around my family since as far as I know. I remember being 8 years old and seeing an aunt that was nurse by profession come into the house, go into the back room. Next thing I know, she's just screaming. So I run into the back room, and actually from here all the way was just like this black hole. And she was stuffing something in, and I was young at that time,
Mhm.
so I didn't know what she was stuffing in it, what was going on. Later, come to find out, it's gauze with some peroxide on it. But when she passed, I was then told she had breast cancer and she didn't take care of herself, but she took care of everybody else. My
Mhm.
grandmother took care of everybody else and was a minister. So it was like I kind of knew that eventually this would be my fate. And at the age of 19, I started getting mammograms.
Mhm.
So it was like in the back of my mind, as much as I didn't want to hear it or think about it, but it still was in the back of my mind,
Right, right,
because so many of my loved ones, had been diagnosed or had passed away. So, I mean, this affects everybody, whether you're a coworker, whether it's a pastor, because that pastor is laboring and praying for us.
right.
Whether it's your nurse, your pharmacist. Actually, I got to know my pharmacist know me very well. So it's like,
Yes,
hey,
Gina.
it's about time for you to do this refill, or hey, I saw your doctor called this in, but you're allergic to this. And I'm like, oh, no. So, I
Wow.
mean, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
After cancer, I became bubble girl, where it's like I'm allergic to everything under the sun.
Mhm.
So, there's so many different layers that are connected with someone with a chronic illness. And again, I'm not just talking about cancer, it's any type of chronic illness.
Right,
I'm also a medical diabetic now because in order to treat my lungs, I've been taking steroids from since 2016 every day,
mhm.
high doses. So I take steroids in the breathing machine. I take once a month injection steroids. I take daily steroids. So, again, this whole journey has been, one rocky road, but, what's the alternative? That I'm not here.
Right,
So,
right,
as much as I can, as much as things get tough, I'm continuously fighting. I'm not just fighting for me, but I'm also fighting for my children. I'm fighting for my nieces. I'm fighting for any grandchildren that I have to come.
right,
Genetic testing. I'm going on Wednesday to do another testing. um Again, it's not just for me, it's for my children, my children's children, extended family members, because this disease is not something that I want any of them to be opening up the door to.
right, right. And so let's go back a little bit and talk about when you first got your diagnosis, you know, how you felt, and then how did you relay that to your family? Like like I know
So
I've heard people say, it was 2 months before I could tell them they knew something was going on. I'd be crying, but it was 2 months, and then some people went straight that day. So what was your journey with that?
actually today is the 8-year anniversary of my biopsy.
Mhm.
um in 2014, um I was just experiencing so much pain and different things within my body. We were still in Japan, and I was going to base doctors and Japanese doctors, and no one could figure out what was going on. So
Mhm.
one day I had a meeting with my commanding officer and executive officer and master chief, and they're like, hey, what's going on? You're not your bubbly self. Everybody's used to my bubbly personality, but when you're in
Yeah.
pain, sometimes you can't smile through that pain. And I believe a few weeks later, after that conversation, me and the boys were here, or not here, but me and the boys were in Virginia.
Mhm.
Um, and it was so bad that one day, like, my arms were like this, and my breasts were so swollen that I could
Mhm.
not put my arms down. I was
Mhm.
just in so much pain. So what did I do? I picked up the phone and called my mother. And again, my mom's been through this several times. So she told me to take a picture. I took a picture of my breasts, and she immediately called my then husband and said, take her to the emergency room immediately.
Mhm.
Even after that, I was hospitalized. I still had to fight to get a mammogram. I actually had a medical
Really?
professional tell me, ma'am, if it's a breast issue, that's not life threatening. You can go to your primary care to get a referral to mammography.
Really?
And 2 months later, that's when I was diagnosed. October 7th was my first mammogram. October 17th, which is 8 years ago today, I had a biopsy. October 27th, I got a phone call at 7:30 in the morning and it says, ma'am, your results are in and you have cancer. Now, mind you, a phone call,
You said a that's what I was going to say, a phone call?
a phone call,
Whew.
I thought was strange. However, being in several support groups, it's not uncommon. It's very common for medical professionals to call and give you that news over the phone.
What?
I
Even
have,
now?
yes, I have run into so many women who have received that phone call over the phone.
Man.
And I'm thinking like, oh, this is just totally abnormal. But
Right.
no. So think about it. It's 7:30 in the morning. I have a young son. At that time he was 12. He leaves for his bus at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember that half an hour. I don't even remember hanging up with the medical professional. I don't remember anything after I heard, ma'am, the results are in and you have cancer. I remember a knock on my door that says, mom, I'm getting ready to leave. And what am I going to do? My baby had a test that day. I have to be mom. So now I'm wiping my face, okay, putting on, this huge mask.
Wow.
And hey, let's pray like we do every day. Let's go ahead. We prayed together. We talked about, his test. I told him he got this. And he left for his bus. And I remember just crawling in the corner and just bawling my eyes out. It was probably, I don't even know how long I stayed there. I don't remember much. I remember I went into some type of depression,
Yeah.
even though I knew, that my family has a strong history. It's still, when it hits you hard.
Right. Right.
And all I remember is, later on, again, not sure on time frame, receiving this huge bag of information. And it was like, I mean, a lot of information. And I'm going through it, and here's a number to a support group, a lady in a support group, and I call her my mama boober. Um, I called her. She asked me where I lived. It actually was around the corner from her, and she says, "Hey, we have a support group meeting tonight. Would you mind if I come pick you up and take you?" I met the 20 most realest women ever
Wow.
that was just lifting up their shirts like, hey, this is what you're going to look like at this stage, and this is what you're going to look like at that stage. And oh, and they were military spouses or military service members, so we all were going to the same hospital. We were all being seen and brought by the same doctors. They told me, don't go to this person, or don't, or try to get this person. So
Right.
when I told my family, um I just remember seeing the hurt on my son's faces. I remember my mother crying,
Mhm.
and her fear was that she passed this down to me. Um, I remember my father just bawling. Um, my biological father, I remember he just bawled. Um, it was rough. It was rough. On top of, you also have to realize I was hit by an 18-wheeler truck
Wow.
several 7 years prior. So where they thought I was dead then, now then I get diagnosed with cancer.
Mm.
You know, so yeah, this was a rough blow for us. Very rough blow.
And just you talking about your parents bawling. I mean, I can't even imagine because, like you said, they have already been through it, and
Right,
so they're like, "Oh, my baby, this is what's about to happen." So,
right.
Lord, listen, we're gonna get through this without crying.
I know. Uh, you think
We
about
can,
it,
we can't.
and
It's
I think about the journey though. Um, and before, like I said, I was in this huge depression, and but when you realize what your purpose is, and I'm human. I'm not gonna say I don't get sad days and and have my moments. But when you realize what your purpose is, things are a lot different.
And so let's even talk about that because how did Strong Will Survivor, get started? I know I was reading through your bio and things like that, how your son wanted to be able to help out. And so tell us a little bit about that.
So, like I said, we had just came from Japan. He had went to school, and again, Japan and America is two different places, two different cultures. They two different. Kids can walk out young and take the subway, the trans, all the way down to downtown Tokyo by themselves. Here in America, it's a little different.
Right.
So when we came here, he was 12, going to middle school, a public middle school for the first time. Um, and if you know Michael, he's a different breed. um he's the kid that you never have to ask, oh hey, did you do your homework this month?
Right.
But so they saw me cry a lot. Both of my sons saw me cry a lot. Like I said, I went through a lot. And when I say my sons saved my life, they really saved my life. I was in my room bawling on the floor again and knocked on the door. And it was both of my sons. And again, I have to put on this mask to be mom. Like I can cry behind closed doors, but I didn't want to cry in front of them.
Mhm.
Um, and so like, I'm wiping my face and I'm literally crying out to God, like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to be sick anymore. Like, literally just crying out to him in my depression. And they knocked on the door. My baby boy came with um, 4 pages, front and back, of what he wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
And so my oldest son has said, Mom, Mikey and I have been talking, and he has something, he wants to talk to you about.
Hmm.
And he said, again, meet my background being education. They know that they come to me, they got to come correct with all the steps.
So
So I'm
you did
reading,
that for me.
I know, right? So I'm reading this paper and I'm just now, the tears of sorrow has now just turned into tears of joy,
Mhm.
because on this paper, he's putting details of what he wants to do. And he ended up looking online to try to find resources for children with parents dealing with cancer in the area. And he said he couldn't find any. So he said, why not create my own? He says,
Okay,
I want
12
to
year
do
old.
something to make my mom smile and to help other kids.
Hmm.
So when I say they saved my life, they saved my life, because here I am in my huge pity party and my depression. Like, why me? Why am I, going through this, all of that? But here, my sons, 18 and 12, one just graduated from high school, supposed to leave to go back to and play basketball in college. Baby boys, just starting middle school, and here they want to help other kids.
Wow.
So he planned the very first Kids Fun Day for cancer survivor children in the Hampton Roads area, and it turned into an annual thing. It then it turned into, we had the big annual thing, but then it also had bi-monthly. It just took a leaf
Took
on
on
its
a
own.
life on
I
its
mean,
own, huh?
Right. I mean, he started getting recognized by all the different mayors in the different Hampton Roads area. He received the Best Youth Citizen of Hampton Roads award. They were people were contacting us for him to come speak, for us to come speak together. My oldest son has always been the behind the scenes type person. You know, he doesn't like being out in front, but he's always been behind the scenes making things happen,
Right.
making sure that we were good. So when we talked about the whole Strong Willed Survivor, it literally came to me, the name came to me in the middle of the night. It was actually during the time that you and I were doing our writing
Yeah,
together.
okay.
And my thing was like, look, if he's going to do this, let's put some education and awareness on this. And we hosted our first Celebration of Life conference in 2015, where he had his Kids Fun Day, was a bowling event. And then we did a advocacy comedy show, because when you have a lot of survivors telling their stories, that can get a little heavy.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine had invited me to a comedy show with local comedians, and it was the first time I had been out, and it was the first time I had laughed since my surgery, since the first surgery. So I said, hey, those same comedians that I went to go see, I actually asked them would they participate and join with me to host this event, and they did.
Wow.
And then that evening, we went on the Spirit of Norfolk, was like a local boat, and we just had a nice celebration of life. So that's where Strong Will Survivor came about. It was mother and sons um, doing something to help ourselves heal while we're helping other people through their times of adversity. And like
Right.
I said, it just took off on a leaf of its own. His Kids Fun Day actually ended up getting picked up by Great Wolf Lodge. So the manager there had said, "Hey, look, anytime you would like to have your event," said to him, "anytime you would like to have your event, our doors are always open as your host sponsor." Town Bank joined forces. The vice president actually of the Town Bank wanted to meet Michael and said, so many times we're seeing all these negative things on the news with, all these young people. But I actually told my grandchildren about you, is what the vice president said to Michael. Said, I wanted them to see your story, to hear that, and to see a young person that's doing good in our community.
Mhm.
So that again, that's what Strong Will Survivor started. That then birthed all these other avenues.
Right. Because, like you said, I mean, people are getting this information over the phone. So there's not the connection where people are really understanding the power behind those words and what that can, how impactful that can be for somebody's life. And then, back in the day, we were always told, just, you know, you and your family just deal with it quietly. We don't, I mean, I've known people who had cancer and they didn't tell it because I don't really know why they didn't tell it, except for they didn't feel allowed
They
to.
were embarrassed.
Shame.
Like,
Yeah.
we have several members in our family that I didn't find out. I mean, I actually had people that told me to be quiet, that told me, "Oh no, don't put that on social media," or "Oh no, don't tell people this." And it was, at a moment I actually stopped,
Mhm.
and God just kept nudging me. He just kept nudging me, kept nudging me. People kept contacting me. I met different people that it was like, why am I going to be quiet when, my story can help someone else? If my story can push someone to go and get checked, whether it's getting a mammogram, whether it's, getting an MRI, whether it's just going to the doctor, period, and just getting testing done. If my
Mhm.
story can help one person, then I'm not going to be quiet. I'm very transparent. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little too transparent, but I tell people and I show people the ups and the downs, the rocky roads. And that's just because there's so many people that I'm like, oh, so and so in the family had that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you have to know your family history. You're going to these doctor's appointments and they're asking all these questions and you're checking those off.
Right.
Meanwhile, there should be yeses. And so, how's a doctor going to know what tests to run? How are
Right.
they going to know, what to look for if they don't have the full story of your medical history?
Exactly. And that is the truth, because like you said, I mean, they ask those questions for a reason, because then they're like, okay, because before it used to be you couldn't get a mammogram till you're 40, but
Right,
if it's a part of your family history, then they start you earlier on mammograms. But nowadays I just tell people, look, start early. I don't care what your doctor says, just demand that you have your mammogram, or you're testing whatever it is that because your body
right,
better than anybody else, right?
right. I actually had a young lady that was upset because she asked her doctor for a mammogram and he told her no. She was 25 years old or about to turn 25. And she kept telling them, like, something's wrong. I need to be tested. They kept telling her, no, you're more of a risk if you do get tested, da 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 da.
Hmm.
Ended up getting her hooked up with one of the mobile mammograms. She ended up getting a mammogram. And unfortunately, they did find a lump.
Wow.
And again, if she wasn't an advocate for herself,
Right.
if she didn't keep speaking up, if someone actually told her, hey, I have a friend that was diagnosed with cancer and she's a huge advocate. So can I connect you to her? Maybe she can help you.
Right.
And again, I really believe that, my purpose, I know now, I was given this mountain to show others that way. So with just the resources that I had through my own journey, I was able to connect her, and they were able to find it at a early stage. They were able to remove her lump. So, she didn't have to go through radiation. She didn't have to go through chemo.
Oh
I
wow.
pray it doesn't come back or anything like that. But, here this young woman, 25 years old, was denied of a mammogram from her doctor.
Wow. See, and that's what we also say too. You are your best advocate. Okay, we do hear the doctors, but if that's not working, if you're still having those symptoms, if you're still, not feeling well, get a second opinion. Like she did. Find another connection.
I'm
Right.
a strong believer of second opinions. Um, for my own story, my own history. At first, I wasn't. At first it was like, I always look out for everybody else before I look out for Keena. And I had 2014 had my breast bilateral mastectomy, and I had expanders put in. Expanders, where you actually have to go in and they inject saline into your skin to stretch your skin.
Okay.
I didn't know that my body was rejecting this process. I
Mm.
just knew I was just in so much pain. The doctors knew I was in pain. So what they did that was they decreased the amount of the injection, and they added a few more days on. So eventually I ended up being stretched as much as I could, and they did the swap, taking out the expanders, putting in my implants. I felt like rocks, two rocks just sitting on my chest. And still, I'm in pain and pain and pain. And I go to that same person that I call my booba mama, and we're at our support group meeting, and I'm telling them, like, this hurts so bad. I'm already diagnosed with fibromyalgia, other issues from being hit by the car, hit by the 18-wheeler truck.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, so I'm in pain already, but now I'm in even more pain with these rocks just sitting on here. And that's when they said, no, honey, you need a second opinion. And I was like, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings. They said, this is your body.
Right.
That's not going to hurt his feelings. And if it does, then so what? You need to find another doctor that's going to, do the test and look at, just get some fresh eyes on you. And
Right.
that's how they convinced me, because they were like, hey, just get some fresh eyes. So I finally go to the second opinion doctor, and he requested op notes on my procedure. Come to find out, op notes were not done on me.
What?
So yes,
Mm,
operation. So the op notes are, when when doctors
yeah.
take and write down what was done during that operating procedure. So it says in my file, at this point, Dr. So and so has will take over and see Dr. So and so's op notes. Dr. So and so's didn't have any op notes.
Oh
So
my
every time
goodness.
the second opinion doctor had kept requesting it, they kept sending this 1,000 page file, but it wasn't there. So then he would highlight and fax it back. Long story short, the doctor was told to redo op notes on me. And literally, when the second opinion doctor got it, he just ripped it up. He's like, this isn't worth the paper that it was faxed on. This has
Mm,
now been over a year that you've had this procedure. You're not the normal patient, which I'm not. So it's like, how do
right.
you know what you did on me? You could have
Exactly.
well done everything that you said, but we don't know because really, how you've operated on how many people since then.
Exactly.
So he went in totally blind, and come to find out there was so many things wrong. And so he took out those implants and put in new ones. And he said it's going to take 4 more surgeries to fix what that doctor messed up.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm still sick, dealing with all these other health issues, in and out the hospital. Never had a chance to even go back and get the swab. Unfortunately, that doctor died in a car crash.
Mm,
So I didn't have anything, but I was sick like crazy,
right.
constantly. One doctor that I love so much, and I'm so thankful. I know for a fact God put them in my path. Tried to say, like, hey, let's explore the option that something's attacking your body from the inside out.
Hmm.
Everybody just dismissed that doctor. It was not until I got to Georgia doctors that they looked at records and said, hey, I think it's more than a coincidence that you became super sick after you had these implants put in.
Right.
You became super sick and have all these allergies now after these implants. You're now severe asthmatic after these implants. We need to give your body a fighting chance. And that's when I found out about breast implant illness.
Hmm.
Had no idea this existed.
I've never heard that myself.
No idea that it existed. When
Wow.
I tell you there are so many women around the world, I'm
Wow.
part of several groups now. And I'm crying because, again, you're not informed. I feel like everyone needs to be informed about the risk, the pros, and the cons
Right.
on both sides.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I've actually physically had a heart to heart hug, and they call when you're flat now heart to heart
Mm,
hug with women that are dealt with breast implant illness and suffering long lasting effects.
mm,
I met a woman that has been 14 years ago breast implant illness. There's groups out there. One group has over 2,000 members. Other groups have several 100,000 members. Their breast implant illness is a huge thing that more people need to be made aware of. On top of the fact of, these implants are only good for 10 years. And
mm.
then they tell you to swap. And my thing is like, okay, they can go make these models out here that look absolutely beautiful, but us,
Right.
we're looking deformed.
Hmm.
No, I couldn't even go across my mirror without crying. I hated when I went to go take a shower and had my little sponge, and it was like I would have to close my eyes and just rub.
Wow.
But finally, I had a doctor in Georgia that did the procedure. And unfortunately, because my body has been traumatized so much, they didn't even know if my body could withstand that surgery.
Mhm.
So I had to get tons of doctors from the hospital to come and evaluate me and sign off on the procedure. And like they said, you have to have it. It's not like this is cosmetic or, elective surgery. This
Right.
procedure has to be done. So we're just trying to make sure that it's going to be done to keep you as safe as possible. And this past January, I had what they call an explant. Um, I say it's another amputation because
Right.
you're cutting off pieces of you.
Right.
Um, so to have your breast amputated once is a lot, but to have it amputated twice again put me back into another depression. I felt like just nobody understood me.
Mhm.
I didn't know where I felt. It's a difference than being diagnosed with breast cancer and a difference being flat.
Mhm.
And we both suffer,
Right.
but I remember years ago going into an event and a few different women, some was saying, "Hey, I'm getting my boobies in," and or "Hey, my expanders are going to come out soon and they're going to put my implants," or and I remember seeing this group of ladies over to the side. And I remember seeing the look on their face. And I never asked them because I didn't know them. So I never asked them what was wrong or said anything to them. But once I became flat, I understood what that meant.
Mhm.
I'm so thankful that there are procedures and doctors that can help those that were diagnosed with cancer to either, like my mom, they used her skin to make breasts. They
Mhm.
told me because of my previous illness with the car accident and everything that I didn't have that option. So my option was implants or flat at that moment. And the way it was being made or pushed on me for
Understand it.
implants,
Mhm.
and you also got to think that's dollar signs.
Right.
But the way implants were being pushed, I felt like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this. But never, never, never did I know the 100% facts and risk. And never, ever, ever did I hear about a breast implant illness.
Yeah.
I think if I would have been a little bit more informed,
Right.
I don't believe I would have made that choice to get implants.
Right.
I can't say for 100% sure because my mind back then was a little different than it is now. But, you know, me
But at
being flat
least,
now,
yeah.
I I'm embracing it. Um, Me going to Colorado to the flat retreat. I didn't even know there was a World Flat Day.
I know.
This
I
is
was
a
like, she got to come on here and tell me what this World Flat Day is. What's that?
so this is now the 4th year anniversary, which
Okay.
had no clue of World Flat Day. And it's about celebrating women that have chosen to be flat, chosen to take that stand to be flat. Um, there's a thing called aesthetic flat closure, which I didn't know about that either. Where you know, um, you can see here they call it dog ears,
Mhm.
but this is all the excess that's left over. But the aesthetic flat closures actually goes in and smooths all of that out.
Yeah.
There are some surgeons that won't do it, but there's some surgeons that will. So
Mhm.
now I'm part of this group that I'm getting to learn all the different surgeons and the different advocacy moments.
Mhm.
Because again, not people aren't aware of these things.
That part.
So October 7th, all I kept hearing was October 7th, World Flat Day. Um, there's a group called Flat Out Love, um, with a wonderful woman, Lisa Sears, Bobby, and Meg. These three wonderful ladies um, took took time out of their own busy life to take and plan this event in Colorado. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Um, uh, it was the Flat Out on Flat Top. So the flattest mountain
Oh,
with
wow.
the flattest women.
Oh, wow.
So we will be hopefully in the Guinness Book of World Records because it's the first time that many flat women, women from all over 100 women from all around the world, even from Mexico and Canada,
Wow.
has come to that event. And when I say it was life changing, it was life changing.
Mm,
Not put There's an organization called Not Putting on a Shirt. They've been huge advocates in the flat world, talking about breast implant illness, talking about aesthetic flat closures, getting the oncologists out there to do different webinars and speak. When I say I knew none of this existed, none
hmm.
of this existed. I am a much better, well, more informed, because there's still so much I don't know, but a
Right.
much better, more informed cancer survivor now, advocate now, that I've become flat. I mean, I finally found my tribe. You finally find where you fit in. These
Right.
women understand me. Now it's like, oh, that's why I was feeling that. Or, oh, I didn't know that that was associated with that. Or, oh, you know what? You can't do this type of exercise, but you can try to do that type of exercise. So, I mean, again, the more of us that are out there that are speaking, the more people
Right.
like you that are interviewing and putting it out there to the world, the more people can be more informed about, better a better way of, helping them heal, helping their bodies, being an advocate for themselves. And
Right.
again, if something doesn't feel right or seem right, you go get checked.
Amen. Now that's the truth about it. Jakina, stay right there with us. We're going to show this your video, the different surgeries and things like that. And, you can talk a little bit about it when we come back. But, I think we're going to have a part two because there's so much going on. So, but, I do, you know, I have days when I'm like, I'm not doing this show anymore. This is ridiculous. Nobody's watching or whatever, whatever. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to know what the flat day was about. What were they doing? Why were they dancing around? Nobody was playing music. I really didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what's going on? So I continue to show up so that I can tell somebody's story, so that somebody can hear your story and be encouraged and be like, ah, somebody right now who's trying to make a decision, do I stay flat or do I get implants? They're like, oh wait, let me give me another week. Let me do some more research because now I know that there's a possibility that all of this could happen. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sticking it out. Thank you for not being quiet and for sharing. Because I would see you on social media and I'm like, oh, she was so sweet. I love her. Lord, just touch her. Touch her children because, like you said, it's a whole family situation. So we're gonna show your video and then we're gonna come right back and we want to make sure you tell people how they can reach out to you, how they can follow your organization and different things like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. That is the strong will survivor there, y'all. And I kept seeing that thumbs up, and I was like, yes, even when you didn't have much to say, it's that thumbs up. It's gonna be okay. We're still fighting. We're still in the game. And so, um,
And
just
that's exactly what it meant too. Every picture that you saw, the thumbs up, it was my brother actually, my youngest brother. He's in one of those pictures. I think he has on yellow, but he came and he was probably at almost every surgery I've had. And his thing was, okay, thumbs up. Tell me you're good. Tell me you're good. So
uh,
that would be my thumbs up. And so I would make sure that, every time that was my encouragement. I heard his words. I heard, everything's going to be fine. Um, so yeah, it was a little emotional just watching that.
mhm. I was putting it
But
together.
seeing
I'm
how
like,
far that I've come.
yes. You have definitely become, you are a strong will survivor. You are a lot of things beyond the scars. You are your own hero, and you are a lot of other people's hero as well, because you share your story, because you're so vulnerable, because you share your family, and their journey and how they feel about this. I promise, I know that you are helping so many people, and there's going to be some people who see this video 2 years from now, but the information and the feeling behind it is still going to be what they need in that moment. So, thank you so much. I honor
Thank,
your journey and your strength.
thank you. Like I said, I know my purpose. I know why I'm here. Beyond the Scars was started in 2017 as an active nonprofit. And since then, we've been able to bless so many survivor and butterfly families all around the world. So I'm just super thankful, and we continue to do that. Um, my oldest son, he has. I do want to talk about but them really quick. But my oldest son, he is still doing amazing things. He is the owner of Superfly Bullies, and what people don't know is he actually trains them. Um, he learns how to train narcotic and bomb dogs. He does the whole package, but he also trains emotional support dogs, and he has donated his puppies that are super expensive. He has donated them to other breast cancer survivors.
Mm.
So that right there, like I said, he's the one behind the scenes, but he still does so much. Baby boy is at Liberty University and just told me last night that he will be graduating early December 2023 with his
Yes.
bachelor's, and he has been accepted into the master's program. So
Okay.
he will be getting
Yeah.
his master's from Liberty University as well. So I am just, extremely ecstatic. He still gives back. He still has the SWS Kids link that he founded underneath Beyond the Scars. This October 22nd, they're actually going to do an event in Hampton Roads, Virginia, where they're going to turn Virginia Beach into Alice in Wonderland
Yeah.
immersion event. So we have secured tickets for that, and we will be going live tomorrow on the Stronghold Survivor page to actually give away some tickets for that event. Um, you can visit us on our Stronghold Survivor page on Facebook or um, Instagram. The website should be back up. It's under construction because we're just revamping some things with it. So that should be back up soon, which is beyondthescars.org. And email is info@beyondthescars.org. I do want to see the shirt that I have on right now
Mhm.
is our promotion shirt, and these are actually getting ready to get sent out. These are on sale as well. So these are Seeing the Beauty Beyond the Stars, See the Beauty Beyond the Stars shirts.
Yes. And so, Alan, throw those links up real quick. I know we got to get out of here, but put the links up there for me, if you will, please. Info at beyondthescars.org
Correct.
is where she can be reached. The website is under construction, as she mentioned, but it'll be beyondthescars.org. So keep checking back. Go ahead and follow the Facebook page. That way you'll know and you'll get those announcements. That's the office number, 757 SWS 4792. Jakina, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we're gonna have to get some flat sisters on the show next time,
Yes,
or
I have
somebody
a
to.
whole lot of them that already come to mind. That will be They would love to be on the show. Um,
Yes. Well, definitely. I follow you anyway, so I'll definitely keep abreast for January. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mark that out so nobody else will put anything in that spot. So,
Good.
I know it's subject to change, but I know around that area, I'll be visiting with you. I love to be there for the release and to celebrate with you all. And so, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, whenever you have these events and things going up, shoot me the flyer so I can post it on the show and talk about it so people keep hearing about your organization and all the amazing things you have going on. I love you. I love you. Um, you guys know we are making connections. We're here every Saturday at 12 noon and every Monday at 2 p.m. Um, info at aliciajohnson.com. If y'all don't catch it on this video, it's out there. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. We're trying to get our YouTube subscribers up. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Making Connections with Aly. And so we love you all. And Jakina, keep us informed. That's the link if you want to schedule an interview. And now listen, y'all, we're filling up for 2022. So you might have to go to 2023, but that's okay. We'll still be here for you because we are continue to build and continue to share stories that are impacting and giving people hope that, for their own journey. So um, again, we're here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on Facebook, turn on your notifications, like and share this video because somebody needs to hear this story. I don't say share a video just for me, but it's the stories that I bring that I want you to share with other people, okay? So, as always, until next time, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, Chiquina.
Bye bye. Thank you.